All right, we've started it up, so. Are you seeing the full slide or are you seeing my screenshot?
I see the whole slide, Richard.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Okay, according to my computer, I've got 6 o'clock. So I'd like to kick off this Lindeman Road Improvement Project virtual open house, scheduled today to run to 6 to 7. Get this to move. Part of what I'm going to do this morning is or this afternoon is to kind of kick this off with an introduction. You are being recorded live now, and after I'd say tomorrow, this will be posted on our project web page. After my brief presentation, there'll be a presentation by G&W and Hard Engineering. It's going to cover the lion's share of the project details. Then we'll open this up to comments or questions using the raise hand option. If you could, please state your full name and address before stating your comment or question, and definitely make sure to check and see if your microphone is on. Our objectives today is to present the current project design and share project-specific information. Be available here virtually to answer questions from people that are in attendance. Solicit the project field related feedback from the public based on the material that G&W and Hard Engineering is going to present today. We'll also provide a 30-day period which you can offer additional comments to be submitted for consideration. It's a real busy slide, but it's kind of an overview of where we're at today. Gives you the project limits. The length of the project's about 2/3 of a mile. Design is roughly 80% complete. MoDOT's given preliminary plan approval back in August. And we have a live open house scheduled for tomorrow from 4 to 7. Right away will be commenced after that, the fall of this year and probably the fall of next year. I expect about 25 easement acquisitions to be performed. The estimated project construction start time is around the winter of 2024 with the completion of probably the middle of 2025. And there's also the projected construction costs of about $1.3 million. The asterisks I had on the other page means those items or elements were eligible to receive 80% of funding. Our funding limit for this project is $1.3 million that has been granted through East West Gateway and the Missouri Department of Transportation. Currently, pedestrian crossings that we're looking at on Lindeman Road There's currently one at the side of Lindgate Drive, and there's one more that was proposed for Lindkirk, but we're still deciding on those two choices. They both will have an RRFB, which is a pedestrian actuated signal for these uncontrolled crosswalks, mid-block crosswalks. I'll show you an example of it on this slide here. Is kind of what it looks like. These are, generic examples of what they're going to look like. The manufacturer could have a little bit different configuration on them, but that's what an RRFB is or will look like. Like I said, we'll conclude the virtual meeting by about 7 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow there'll be an open house at the Kirkwood Community Center, room 201, from 4 to 7. Comments, we are allowing about a 30-day period to receive comments. We'd like to receive them no later than Friday, November 11th. There'll be a place where you can submit written comments on the city webpage under the project. And if you want to make a public comment or fill out a form there and send it to me by either email, or you can mail it to me through the post office at that address below. And that's all I have. And G&W is up next for their presentation.
Thanks, Richard.
I think I released it.
Let me, how's that look? Good?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Chuck Volz from G&W Engineering. I'm the Director of Operations. With me here in the office is Paula Hart from Hart Engineering, as well as Ken Burris, our designer on the civil side. So basically, as Richard mentioned, the purpose of the meeting is to make the local citizens, business owners, and others aware of this project and where we stand with the design process, as well as to obtain, valuable input from the public to help us finalize the design. So as part of this project, we did go through a social and economic impact study, and basically the result of that study concluded that it does not require commercial residential displacements. There will be no road closures or detours necessary during construction. There's going to be, of course, temporary and limited traffic disruptions, construction noise and dust and things like that through construction activities. And of course, we will be providing, through the course of the project, sufficient public notice of the construction activities and traffic management as this project progresses. So as Richard mentioned, the design team is as such. So the overview of this project, just to give you somewhat of a snapshot, exactly what's in front of us here. This is a project on Lindeman Road from Dougherty Ferry to the property line. It's going through MoDOT, and it has been identified within the city of Kirkwood's pedestrian bicycle plan as a neighborhood greenway, and hence the improvements associated with that forthcoming. And back in 2015, there was a study done on the citywide pavement program, and back then it was given a pavement rating of, I think it was 50 micropaver, and that is basically somewhat not bad, but not good. So what's in front of us now in terms of the improvements? So we're looking at Lindeman Road having an asphalt milling and overlay. There are going to be some concrete asphalt curb repairs. We're going to address ADA compliancy. We're going to be looking at bike lanes and a mid-block crossing, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. We're going to have improvements to the intersection at Dougherty Ferry and Lindeman Road. We're also going to update and rehabilitate some storm sewers, improve the pavement marking. We're looking at, as Richard mentioned, some easements, approximately about 1.25 acres throughout the course of the project. And there will be no tree clearing on this project as we see right now. So this is just a pictorial view of the project. So again, from the border all the way through to Dougherty Ferry is the length of this project. 0.67 miles. So the existing conditions, as we sit here today, there's 2 travel lanes. The lane width varies between 16.6 to 18 feet. There is no shoulder width. 30 miles per hour is the posted speed limit. And the traffic volume in 2018 was recorded 2,442. And you'll see that the forecast all the way to 2030 something or other, you'll see it in another slide, is basically the same. So we're not expecting the traffic volume to increase nor decrease over the next 10, 15 years. Pedestrian bicycle facilities, there's some existing sidewalks on both sides as it sits today. The crosswalks do have a lack of visibility. And as we all know, there's no bike lanes currently within Lindeman Road. It does have some traffic signals and stop signs. From a drainage perspective, both sides there are some curb inlets and storm systems and ditches. And as we look at the landscaping, everything is grass and in good shape. So what are we going to do? Well, this is a typical section of where we sit today. I got ahead of myself by a slide. So as again, from right of way to right of way is about 60 feet. So you can see that the lane width 16.6 and varies. It does have 4-foot sidewalks currently. There's no bike lanes, and that's basically where we sit today. And I'll have another section further in this presentation talk about what we're proposing. So as part of that improvements, from a roadway perspective, we're looking at 0 elements from a vision perspective. We're still looking at 2 travel lanes. The lane width will be reduced down to 10 feet. There will be no shoulder width will be 0. The design speed will be 35. The speed limit will be 30. Again, I mentioned the traffic volume didn't change from 2015. We will be providing new traffic signals, new stop signs. We will also be incorporating curb bump outs. And those bump outs are going to enhance and reduce the vehicle speed, reduce the pedestrian crossing distance, and then increase pedestrian visibility to drivers. So they'll be incorporated in the design. And again, I mentioned the intersection improvements. We're going to visit the intersection of Dougherty Ferry and Lindeman Road. And stormwater improvements will be, again, enhancing and incorporating the necessary runoff protection we currently have there today. On the pedestrian side, Richard mentioned about some the signals. So there'll be pedestrian signals. We're going to enhance the high visibility pavement markings and signage to increase pedestrian crossing awareness. We're going to close all the sidewalk gaps amongst existing sidewalks. We're looking at adding a new sidewalk on the east side of Lindeman from Greening Lane to Dougherty Ferry Road. We're going to be providing ADA compliance design, which includes removal and replacement of non-compliant sidewalks and curb ramps on both sides of the roadway, and put in dedicated bike lanes. So this is how it's going to look going forward. So we have the 10-foot lanes. We have a 2-foot buffer on either side. We have the 5-foot bike lane. Then we have green space, and then we have our sidewalk where this is a right of way. Then we have our 5-foot sidewalk. So you can see that the right of way distance is still 60 foot as it stands today. So those are the changes that we're going to be looking at going forward as part of our design. So I included a couple of the plan sheets here. We have made up boards on these plan sheets that you're going to see. In fact, these sections here have also been made up as boards. So if you attend the meeting tomorrow or come through as part of the public forum, you'll see these more on a 24 by 36 inch board, and you'll be able to see the improvements that we're planning on incorporating onto Lindeman Road, and we'll be able to answer any questions you might have further at that time as well. So, and basically this, so we have sidewalks, we got curbs. In fact, the one, this is the intersection that Richard was talking about before, where we have the traffic, pedestrian traffic signal to get across Lindeman right here. You can see the 88 curb ramps we're putting in along Lindeman. Again, these boards will be more visible to those in attendance tomorrow. They'll be on 24 by 36, so you'll be able to see a little more detail associated with that. And it takes us right to Dougherty Ferry. So this is the improvements we're proposing here at the end of Lindeman and Dougherty Ferry, with the crosswalk and the island and so forth here. Again, that's something that you'll be able to see a little bit further, more detail tomorrow on the boards. So prior to today's virtual, we did get an email from one of the residents, and the resident basically had this comment. It was difficult to cross Lindeman safely due to the location of the crosswalk on the north side of the intersection. That was the Lindgate. Yeah, it was Lindgate. The crosswalk is in the slope of the hill. It's not possible for pedestrians and southbound cars to see each other. And she suggested that the crosswalk be relocated to the south side of Lindeman intersection, or add a crosswalk warning signal with solar power flashing lights. Well, she must have seen the presentation before, because that's exactly what we're proposing here. Is her second suggestion was adding crosswalk warning signal with solar power flashing lights. And And Richard had shown that previously, but this is basically the detail that we are incorporating on our drawings at this point in time. It's a MoDOT standard detail, which again, it shows the solar panel, the lights, the sign, and of course, the crosswalk here and everything like that. So appreciate that comment, and we look forward to other comments as well. So as Richard had mentioned, where we stand right now with the project, we're looking at starting the acquisition of the easements next month. We envision that we'll be complete with the acquisitions of the easements by the fall of 23. At that point in time, we would start our design, finalize our design, I should say, and have that all completed by the fall of 2024. At that point in time, it'll go out for bids with construction starting winter of 2024. And then construction will be completed in 16 months is what we're proposing. So that's the presentation. So at this point in time, open it up to questions.
Okay, I've got one raised hand. Let me first. Let me give Michael Carmody a chance to talk. Michael, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. First of all, great job. It really is. It's an exciting move forward for Kirkwood. Kirkwood's a leader in things such as this. Having said that, I do have a couple of questions. And my first question is the channelized lane at Dougherty, Ferry, and Lindeman, which would be on the east side of Lindeman. Is that going to continue to be a channelized right turn lane from Dougherty Ferry? Yes, right there.
Yes.
With that,
So a simple ask, and would you consider, could it be considered to put in a raised crosswalk in that channelized lane? We know that channelized lanes are extremely dangerous, and that would make it a much safer crossing in that channelized lane.
I think I understand the question. So basically those coming down Dougherty Ferry, making this turn onto Lindeman, and then your crosswalk is here. You see that
Charles, can I step in here? This is Chris with City of Kirkwood. So, hi Mike, how's it going?
Chris, how you doing?
The line work that you see on there is actually a proposed raised crosswalk.
Oh man, you're killing it.
We're one step ahead of you.
I love it. That's great news. So, second question: further down, where the resident brought up about the moving that and putting in the rapid flashing beacon, which you know, Chris, I love that. Is there consideration there for a raised crosswalk there? And I ask it for a couple of reasons, just to explain. We're seeing in different parts of the country, raised crosswalks are working, not only making it safer for the pedestrian, but it's also slowing down traffic. And I think, Chris, you see it yourself on the two raised intersections that really apparently are doing extremely well in terms of safety.
Yeah, so to address your question at Lingate, to make that a raised crosswalk, we have not put that as a raised crosswalk at this point. That's something we can consider down the road. Obviously, there's drainage concerns we haven't looked at, being on a hill like that person commented, and then a lot of what we see is, and we don't have a whole lot of data on this, is that putting a raised crosswalk in the middle of middle of a road between two blocks, how that impacts emergency vehicles and things like that. So I don't have any good examples throughout the city or throughout St. Louis area. But
I hear
what
you.
have, so that's we can consider it, Michael,
NATCO,
and take a look at it.
NATCO has a statistic that said it's less than 3 seconds. I don't know how that applies to Kirkwood, where they're at in their response time, but just if you guys would just give that some consideration. Now, here's the big ask. I love it that you guys are going to have bike lanes. I'm really concerned the more statistical data that we see, painted bike lanes are not conducive to kids and safety. And would you reconsider putting up some type of protected bike lane? Even if it's only something that has those plastic 3 foot high tall stands, something to when folks are driving down that 10-foot lane, it's going to feel like a 10-foot lane, so they're going to slow down. And B, there's some data that just came out, I think last month, Chris, from University of Missouri in Kansas, and they've got spectacular numbers what happens with protected lanes in terms of safety. So that's my ask. Again, I want to thank everybody. I think this is incredibly great, and it's another crown for Kirkwood.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Next up, we got Patricia Parker.
Hi,
Hi.
I live at 437 Lindeman, which is just south of the intersection of Dougherty Ferry and Lindeman Road. And I have a question and a comment. I'm wondering if there has been any consideration given to putting a traffic light, working lights at that intersection. I take my life into my hands as well as anyone else who crosses there on foot or on bicycle. There are more accidents there than are ever reported because there are so many that are fender benders. They're constant. People roll through those intersections. It is one of the most dangerous places as far as I'm concerned in Kirkwood. So that's my question. Have you considered it? Secondly, I'd like to make a comment and then I'll let you go. I live on the dangerous part of Lindeman. I think it's wonderful what you're doing on the upper part, but my street on my part of Lindeman is narrow. 2 cars, that's it. When I go out to walk, I have no sidewalks. People ride up the hill from Ballast to Lindeman, up Lindeman to Dougherty Ferry. They're walking and people come so close to hitting us, I can't begin to tell you. So while I think it's wonderful what you're doing, I feel, left behind in terms of danger. You're giving 2 wide bike lanes and there's not even a sidewalk where I am. So that's what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael, you have some more comments?
No, I'm sorry. Am I still have my hand up?
Yeah, I'm new to this. It looked like it, but
I thought I took it down, but let me try it again, Rich. I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. That's all right.
Are you going to answer my question? Hello?
Chris, you want to
I
take
don't
this?
know. Yeah, I would expect some kind of an answer from you.
Yeah. So your question on if a traffic signal has been looked at for the intersection.
That's correct.
Okay. So I would say it has, and it is not a warranted traffic signal. And
Okay,
due to what I'll tell you is there's specific warrants that the MUTCD requires, and a lot of what you said was that unreported accidents. And so if the police don't know about them, we don't know about them either. So what I could say is anytime that there is an accident there, it needs to
all
be
right.
reported.
It's the same old bureaucratic stuff then. My end of the street where I had to fight for years, several years, just to get the potholes replaced with some concrete, because they'd come and throw the asphalt in, and I had potholes. And you're not gonna do anything with South Lindeman, and you're not gonna make that intersection safer. So as far as I'm concerned, it's done nothing for me. You're gonna have beauty all the rest of the way. Go for it, guys, and we'll continue.
So the limits of the project are based on what is federally funded.
All
So
right.
we
Okay, I'm
cannot.
gone. I give up. I really do. I give up. We'll just continue. When somebody gets hurt down here, you guys remember that I called in. That's all. Thank you.
I don't see anybody else with any hands raised at this time. Oh, I got one that just came up. Laura Radcliffe. I think I got you unmuted, so maybe not.
How's
Laura?
that?
Okay. Go
So-
ahead.
Hi there. My question is, when you describe the 60-foot right-of-way that exists now, what is that? Is that the width from curb to curb currently, the pavement?
No, it's the paper alignment that we have to work with. It doesn't necessarily tie in. It's usually wider than the pavement width.
Thank you. So you'll probably acquire a strip of land for the length where sidewalks will go?
No, that we're going to build inside a right of way. So there might be some construction easements.
So Laura, Laura, if you take a look at your screen right now, so here's the existing right of way on the west side. And then here's the existing right of way on the east side up here. This dashed line.
Okay.
So we're proposing to stay within that right of way with this new construction.
And I'm following that. I'm just not clear. So that right of way extends. Let's see, if I'm looking at the east side, the right of way extends further east of the pavement.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you. I get it now.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I've got Sherry Goldsmith. You there?
Yeah, so my question is, so I also live on Lindeman, obviously. So I'm looking at the east side of Lindeman, and I see where the existing road is, that there's a dotted line. Then there's a dotted line with, I guess that's 3 trees. I'm not exactly sure. So the 2 lanes in the middle are the 2 roads. One's the bike lane. And then is it the sidewalk? Because you said you're not taking down any trees. So those 3 trees will stay there, and you're just going to, I'm not exactly sure where things are going with your tiny pictures.
Let me take you back to this drawing right here. So as you saw in the previous drawing, we have the 60-foot right of way. So we're staying within that existing right of way with the build out of the traffic lane, buffer, bike lane, space, green space, and then the sidewalk. 5-foot sidewalk.
This is, okay, so 10 feet. Okay, so if you can go back to the other thing we were looking at, because you said you're not taking down any trees, but if I'm looking at this correctly, aren't those things that are,
Those are outside the right of way. Actually, the right of way is closer to the road. And then there's an existing easement line on the outside of those
oh,
trees.
no, go on the other side of this? Yeah, the east side, this one. Okay, so we're, so
So
we're,
those trees are outside of the right of way.
okay,
The right of way is the dash line between the trees and the road. And the dash line on the other side of the trees is an easement line.
Yeah, so this line is the easement line. The existing right of way is this arrow that points down to this dash line here.
and that's where the sidewalk will start?
That will be the edge of the construction site, so these trees will stay.
Okay, but and when the construction is finished, the dotted line will be where the sidewalk is?
There would be no sidewalk there.
Oh, you're not putting a sidewalk on that part of Lindeman?
Correct.
Oh, okay. So where does the sidewalk stop?
At the intersection.
It stops at the intersection. So if you go along Dougherty Ferry and you're going along that curve down and then across the street, so you would make a crossing across Lindeman. And then if we would go up a couple pages, that's when you could see when that sidewalk picks up.
Okay, so you're not putting a sidewalk then between Lindkirk and Dougherty Ferry on the east side of Lindeman?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. That answers my question.
Thank you. I don't see any other hands raised. Want to give it a few minutes to see if anybody comes up with any additional questions or comments.
Just want to say thank you.
Richard, is there anything in the chat? It looks like there's maybe a question in the chat. The Q&A up top.
Let's take a look here. Yeah, is a 60-foot right of way the width that is currently curb to curb? I think we already answered that. Or are you acquiring an additional strip of land? I think we already answered. That was from Laura Radcliffe.
Yes. I just couldn't see it. I wanted to make sure we weren't missing a question.
Good catch. Michael, you still have any questions? I still kind of see your hand up.
Rick, I see a hand up from Patricia Parker. Has she already spoken?
Yeah, I'll ask again.
Rich, I'm fine. Michael is fine. And again, thank you guys. I'm just gonna move along now, but thank you all for what a great
Thanks,
job.
Mike.
And most importantly, for the extra time and effort you guys are putting in tonight. And I know it's not unusual, but I just thank you guys. Appreciate the service. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael. I'm sorry.
Give me a chance here. Hello. It's
I'm
Patricia.
sorry. You're still out there, aren't you?
I am.
Okay.
Since nobody is jumping in to ask anything else, what are the plans for my part of Lindeman? If it's federal money, somebody has to go after it. My part of Lindeman is the most dangerous part. We have no sidewalks whatsoever from Ballas Road to Dougherty Ferry. What are you
So-
planning to do with that?
So your part of Lindeman is not a functioning classified street, so we cannot get federal dollars for that portion of Lindeman.
Excuse me,
However-
it's not a functioning classified street?
Correct.
Is
So,
that
so East-West Gateway, so it's roads that are eligible for federal funding. Local streets are not eligible for funding through federal dollars. And I'm not saying that it's eligible for city local funds. If you would like to, for sidewalks, there's a petition that would need to be filled out because that involves other neighbors on your street. And so a petition would need to be filled out to, for the city to consider sidewalks on your portion of Lindeman.
There are very few houses on my portion of Lindeman that face the road. There's 1, 2, 3, maybe 6 houses that face the road at all?
Okay. So yeah, we would need a petition from the majority of those 6 houses to add a sidewalk.
Okay,
Because a lot of people have differing opinions of a sidewalk in front of their house.
I get that, but I also have the opinion that when you're walking on that narrow street, that really 2 cars, when you park a car out on Lindeman, people can't, it has to be one-on-one. You cannot get 2 more cars through there. Somebody,
Understand.
seriously, I know that I'm passionate about this because I walk every day. Somebody's gonna get killed and it might be me. There was an old man who damn near clipped me the other day. He was so close to us. It's dangerous. I'm just passing that along. I think
I
it's
appreciate that.
wonderful what you're doing to the other part, but where I live, it's exceedingly dangerous. And I've had my say. Thank you very much.
What I'll respond to that, Patricia, we've got a sidewalk project that's going on right now on a different street in Kirkwood. And they don't have any sidewalks on the street right now. And there is definitely opposing views on putting a sidewalk. A lot of people are comfortable using the street. Now, I will say it does have different characteristics as far as grades go than Lindeman, but there are opposing views to having sidewalks, and the way that the city handles that is receiving a petition from the majority of the residents
Okay.
to get a sidewalk.
All right. And the other part of it is the speeding on my part of Lindeman. People come up that hill and they are flying past my house.
Okay.
Flying. And then that's when they hardly stop at the intersection up there. It seriously is dangerous to walk out of my house to go for a walk.
And one thing that we're going to do to improve that intersection is that raised crosswalk. And so that's the attempt to slow traffic down on Lindeman. It's similar to the raised intersection that's at Dougherty Ferry and Geyer and Peak, but it would only be one leg of the intersection.
Yeah, see, it's not going to do anything for me. We cross the street and we walk east on Dougherty Ferry. So
Okay.
it does, what you're suggesting really will not do a single thing to impact my safety as I walk from my house to make my walk through Kirkwood. I grew up here. I have spent my life in Kirkwood. I love Kirkwood, but I am very, very frustrated by how my street is treated and where we are. It's dangerous.
It's truly out of the scope of this project. However, it's not out of the scope that it would be a different forum that we could take your concerns.
Well, I just brought it up because nobody was talking about this project. You were sitting here, nothing, so I just.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
We appreciate your passion. Thank you.
All right, I'm having a few screen problems here, so bear with me.
Rick, I don't see anyone else with their hands raised, so I think if there's no one else, we appreciate the time tonight. And as Rick and Charles said, we have a meeting tomorrow. We can further talk about things from 4 to 7 at the community center. Thanks for all your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.